Per usual, the Minnesota Vikings breaking news right after we're just finishing this video. So Phil Rauscher is signing with the Bills, and we tried to edit out all the parts we're talking about. Hey, the Vikings should keep Phil Rauscher. He has experience with Kevin O'Connell, 2 years in Washington. He'd be a great assistant to the regional offensive line coach to Bill Callahan, but what can he do? Anyways, on with the show. What is going on, Jerome's? We got it. We got it. Props to a bunch of Jerome's who sent in a couple shekels in the Venmo, and we got the sexy ass ad. Ooh, Lordy. It's pretty damn amazing. I don't know if I want to keep the string, though. You can pretty easily cut the string off, but who really knows? It adds to the retro vintageness, I guess. Anyway, Minnesota Vikings reportedly going to hire Kevin O'Connell. Now it's time to look who's he going to bring with as assistants. Now, every single head coaching candidate has a Rolodex of guys that he wants to bring along on his staff. Like, guys have been thinking about this for years. Like, when I become a head coach, who do I want as my DC, as my quarterback coach, as my special teams coordinator, etc. And you know for damn sure, as O'Connell was going through the process, he was like, hey, if I get the Vikings job, do you want to be my XYZ coach? Question mark. Check yes or no. So he's got it laid out. And no, Vikings fans should not freak out. Well, they can't officially hire him for like 10 more days. Don't care. Don't care. Staff will already be in place. Don't you worry about that. So I want to go through his history of Kevin O'Connell and look at a couple of coaches that have had some overlap with him back in the day. So, of course, O'Connell played in the league 08 to 2012 and then got formally into coaching 2015. Have been in the NFL coaching ever since. And there's some really interesting names on this list. A couple of... production value. There's a couple of names that are just like, huh? And a couple of names that actually do make some sense. And we quasi put them in order from likely to kind of whatever. So the color coding is if he crossed over with them when he was a player, they're in yellow. If he crossed over with them as a coach, they're in blue. And then crossover player and coach, they're in green, because colors, like blue and yellow make green, right? Actually, I don't know if that's true. I hope it's true. Anyway, up at the top, Mike Pettine. So he was with the Jets as DC under Rex Ryan when Kevin O'Connell was there for 3 seasons. Also, he was the Browns head coach when he hired Kevin O'Connell. His first NFL coaching job, 2015, was coaching quarterbacks in Cleveland when Pettine was still in power there. John DFilippo was offense coordinator. We'll get to him in a sec. But Mike Pettine, who I've loved and respected for a long time, even when he was with the Packers and it clearly didn't work out. He spent last year as a senior defensive assistant on the Bears. It would not shock me at all if he ends up being the Vikings defense coordinator. It doesn't. He's just making the rounds in the NFC North. But given the O'Connell connection and the fact like we said, when Pettine was DC of the Browns, only 2 years, and he was trying to save his job, who did he bring in to coach his quarterbacks? It was Kevin O'Connell. So the coaching world is a very networking heavy. It's a very scratch my back, I'll scratch yours sort of thing. And I wouldn't be shocked if Mike Pettine comes along as defensive coordinator, maybe even like assistant head coach, something like that. Or maybe if it's not DC, because there's some other names that could potentially be interesting as DC, maybe coming along as senior defensive advisor with the Vikings. That would make a lot of sense. Next one, Bill Callahan. Ooh, Tommy Callahan brake pads. Come on. So Bill Callahan, who for my money is one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL, even though the Vikings do have Phil Rauscher. We'll get to him in a sec. You see him on the list. So Bill Callahan, phenomenal. He's currently with the Browns. Stefanski absolutely knows what he's doing, getting the best offensive line coach in the league. And also his son, Brian Callahan, is OC of the Bengals, who ironically is in a similar role as Kevin O'Connell is with the Rams currently, where he's the offensive coordinator but doesn't call plays. It's kind of funny. But Callahan, 2009, 2011, of course, with the Jets. And also they were working on the same side of the ball, Kevin O'Connell being a quarterback. And then Washington football team, he's the O-line coach as well as he took over as interim head coach after Jay Gruden was fired. And he's the offensive line coaching god currently with the Browns. Hey, Stefanski and also Callahan crossover with Kwesi. It's going to happen, baby. All right. Next up, Matt Cavanaugh was QB coach of the Jets 2009 to 11, where Kevin O'Connell worked very closely with him. And then he was with the Washington football team for 2 years. Are they the Commanders? Like, I don't know. Like for this spreadsheet, for saving space, I just put football team because it's funny to me. So for 2 years, Cavanaugh was the OC under Jay Gruden in Washington, where Kevin O'Connell was QB coach. And then Kavanaugh became a senior offensive assistant in 2019 when Kevin O'Connell was named OC in Washington. And now he's a Jets senior offensive assistant. I don't think it would take much. Like, if Pettine and Matt Cavanaugh come along as senior assistants on their respective sides of the ball, would make sense. Next up, John DFilippo. Yes, Vikings fans remember him. It did not work out. The one season that he was here. Oh, not even one season. I think it was 13 games. But that was for a myriad of reasons. But it was mainly Mike Zimmer. John DFilippo did not get along, but JDF was the quarterback's coach with the Jets in 2009, Kevin O'Connell's first year in New York, as well as, like we said, when Pettine was head coach of the Browns, John DFilippo was OC in 2015. They picked Kevin O'Connell to be their quarterback coach, so I think there could be some quid pro quo there. And then get to the Ryan brothers. So Rex Ryan was the Jets head coach for 3 years that O'Connell was with the Jets, and nah, ain't gonna happen. Rob Ryan, though, so he was Washington football team. He was inside linebackers coach with Washington that year. Currently the Ravens inside linebacker coach. Nah. And then you get to guys who are on the Rams who do make a lot of sense. Thomas Brown, the Rams running backs coach, I believe he interviewed with the Dolphins this year for their head coaching job. He's seen as a young up-and-coming coach. Now, would you replace Candy Polamalu? I like Candy Polamalu. We'll see. Zach Robinson is also seen as one of those young up-and-coming offensive-minded wunderkinds. Former quarterback. I think he was at Oklahoma State. I think he was a 7th-round pick, too. Yeah, but he's currently the Rams assistant quarterbacks coach, bounced around their coaching a number of positions. He may get a shot as, say, a quarterbacks coach or maybe even OC with Kevin O'Connell calling plays. Wes Phillips, Rams tight ends coach and passing game coordinator. Two crossovers, Washington for 3 years, and then with the Rams. He came over after Jay Gruden's staff got washed out, just like Kevin O'Connell. Eric Henderson. Now, when I initially read this, I saw Aaron Henderson. That would be spicy. But 2 years crossover with the Rams, current D-line coach. Also, I think he's their defensive run game coordinator. Hiro Avero, Rams DB coach, who I believe is also their passing game coordinator on defense. That makes sense if they want to upgrade. If they want to bring him along as a DB coach or potential defensive coordinator, yes. Jason Tarver, he was with the Kevin O'Connell in 2016, San Francisco. Now, Tarver's a name. He's been a defense coordinator before in this league with the Raiders, and now he's currently the Browns linebackers coach. So, yeah, I think that Stefanski knows a thing or two. Plus, Kwesi would know Jason Tarver from their time in Cleveland together. That one would make sense. Tori Woodbury has been a name that's been floated about as a potential special teams coach replacement. Ryan Ficken was let go. They stopped blocking him from going to the Chargers. Maybe it's because O'Connell has a special teams coordinator already in mind. Maybe that guy is Tori Woodbury. Could be. Tim Rattay. Interesting name, Washington football team. He was the quarterback's coach in Washington the final year when O'Connell was OC, and now he's currently the Oklahoma State quarterback's coach. I believe Tim Rattay, Louisiana Tech, I want to say, back in the day. Tori Gray, former Vikings DB, was the Washington football team's defensive backs coach for 2 years while O'Connell was in D.C., and now he's currently the Gamecocks defensive backs coach. So, I mean, Tori Gray. He was one of my favorite players from back in the day. And then we get into some more sort of tangential ones. Larry Izzo, currently the Seahawks special teams coordinator. He was special teams god on the Patriots. They were teammates back in the day. Bill O'Brien, probably going to be the Patriots' next OC, whatever. Brian Shoddy Tuhati, Jets. He was the OC when O'Connell was there for 3 years. He's currently the Jaguars quarterbacks coach, passing game coordinator. Not for long. That's going to be washed out. Anthony Lynn, running backs coach with the Jets, former Chargers head coach, former Lions OC, and he was stripped of play calling duties midseason by Dan Campbell. Didn't work out. Dennis Thurman, DT, Jackson State defensive coordinator, also from the Rex Ryan tree. Mike Smith is an interesting name. So Smitty was with the Jets for 2 seasons. Smitty has also a big part in the book Collision Low Crossers. I believe it's about the 2010 Jets. It's probably the best football book of all time. I highly recommend going out, reading it or listening to it. It's fantastic. But he's currently the Packers outside linebackers coach, which if the Vikings do move to a 3-4, what Smitty did with Rashawn Gary this year, come on, man. Ben Kotwicka, crossover player as well as a coach, former Falcons special teams coordinator. Norv, no. John Pagano, Chuck's brother, Yeah. And then you get into like Aaron Glenn, even though you're not going to have a lateral move from Lions DC. Maybe Aaron Glenn gets the Saints job. Who really knows? Anthony Weaver, the Browns, Jim O'Neill, etc. Ryan Day. Yeah, Ryan Day for 1 year was the Niners QB coach when Kwesi was in San Francisco, when Kevin O'Connell was in San Francisco. Apparently he coaches Ohio State or something. Am I pronouncing that right? I don't know. Maybe Ryan Day actually wants a promotion. Maybe he'll become quarterbacks coach of the Vikings versus coaching the Buckeyes. Is that what their team is called? I don't know. Who knows? And then you got Mick Lombardi, Jim Tomsula, Randy Jordan, who's been a long-time running backs coach with Washington. Although, again, I do like Kenny Paluma. We are going to do a video of Vikings assistants I want to stay. So we'll see. Also, Deuce Gruden. That's right. He was strength and conditioning coach in Washington under his uncle Jay Gruden. Went to Vegas when his dad, John, got the Raiders job. Not so much. But, hey, if the Vikings need a new strength and conditioning coach, Deuce, let's go. Come on, man. And then Ike Hilliard and then Jumpin' Joe Barry. But, yeah, he's the Packers DC. And also, we didn't list Shane Waldron. They had a lot of crossover, but he's the OC of the Seahawks. So, I would be fine with Pettine. I would be fine with, I would be fine with Pettine. I would love me some Bill Callahan. JDF, I don't think he was a problem last time around, but Zach Robinson, Eric Henderson, Averos, Tarver are all very interesting. Woodbury. So we'll see. Again, this is an incomplete, partial list, and I'm sure that there'll be names on there that Kevin O'Connell's never worked with on paper, but these coaching staffs, when they get together, Senior Bowl, I mean, they have a good time, they network, and they got their guys, right? But let us know your thoughts on our thoughts. Take a look at potential assistance for the Kevin O'Connell Minnesota Fighting Vikings regime. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.